Welcome to the debate. When you think about building something valuable, like a house or a career, you just assume quality demands time, right? You envision an architect poring over blueprints for months.
Oh, absolutely. We inherently associate speed with fragility.
Exactly. A structure built in 2 hours is, well, something you expect to collapse in the first storm. But today, we're looking at the rapidly expanding e-learning industry.
Right, an industry projected to reach $645 billion by 2030, which is massive.
And we're asking a central question. Can a complete beginner realistically create a valuable, sellable digital product in under 2 hours? Or does rapid, constrained creation inherently compromise quality and doom the creator to failure?
Yeah, and this whole debate emerges directly from the 111 formula for rapid digital product creation, which is based on Jason Fladlien's methodology.
So to summarize my position, I will argue that genuine educational value requires comprehensive planning, research, and depth.
And I will argue that extreme constraints and hyperspecificity actually produce better, more actionable solutions for consumers.
So starting off, I have to say I am deeply skeptical of this 111 formula, which stands for one problem, one solution, one sitting.
I know you are.
I mean, the idea of a complete beginner creating a product in under 2 hours with strict rules against researching or editing, it sounds like a recipe for flooding the market with superficial, low-value content. A mature market demands rigorous, comprehensive systems, not rushed 10-page PDFs just because, done is better than perfect.
Well, I think you're missing the true reason most creators fail. They don't fail because of poor quality. They fail because they are completely crushed under the weight of their own comprehensive plans.
You really think that's the primary hurdle?
Yes, buyers are looking for immediate relief from specific pain, not an encyclopedia. Just look at the source materials foundational example. Jason Fladlien wrote a 7-page ebook on writing articles in one afternoon.
Right, the early days.
Exactly. And it sold 268 copies in 24 hours at $4, and that literally launched a $100 million business.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. How does a beginner with absolutely no credentials possibly identify a problem worth solving? I mean, they don't have the subject matter expertise to write a comprehensive guide.
They don't need comprehensive expertise. They just need to follow the data.
But aren't they just guessing at that point? Isn't a beginner guessing at market needs essentially like throwing darts in the dark?
They aren't guessing at all, actually. The methodology explicitly uses Amazon one-star reviews of best-selling books to find completely unresolved problems. You let the buyers tell you exactly what is missing.
Wait, so they are specifically looking for what the experts missed?
Exactly. You read the one-star and two-star reviews to find out what problem the reader still has after finishing the big, popular book.
Okay, but identifying a gap doesn't mean you can fill it. Just because I know people are frustrated by a lack of daily grocery lists in a diet book, well, that doesn't make me a nutritionist qualified to write one.
But you are conflating traditional academic credentials with functional utility. The beginner here is taking a microskill they already possess and offering it to someone in pain. Look at the letting agent email templates mentioned in the text.
Right. The property manager who just packaged up their own pre-written templates. But why wouldn't someone just use a free AI tool for that?
Because generic AI gives you generic corporate speak. The templates sold because they contain the exact phrasing and human empathy that actually de-escalates a noise complaint at 2 a.m. Or take the roach seller example.
Wait, the roach seller? Like literal insects?
Yeah, literally. A guy who breeds feeder roaches for reptile owners. He realized reptile owners shared an acute pain point. They wanted to stop buying expensive live insects every single week.
So he wrote a guide on how to breed them at home?
Exactly. It's an incredibly narrow demographic, which means virtually zero competition. When a bearded dragon owner sees a 10-page guide on breeding roaches, they don't care if the author went to Harvard. They just care that the author has live roaches and they don't.
All right, I will accept that method for finding a topic. Mining documented dissatisfaction works, sure. But I have to sharply critique step 3 of this formula, the create it in one sitting constraint.
That is the most important part.
Is it though? You do a 10-minute outline, an intro, 3 steps, a conclusion. Then you write for 1 to 2 hours with 0 research and 0 editing. How can that ethically be sold as a solution?
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. The lack of editing and research isn't about being lazy. It's a psychological mechanism to guarantee completion.
Guarantee completion of a first draft brain dump, maybe.
No, a finished 10-page guide that solves one distinct problem efficiently is vastly superior to an unfinished 50-page masterpiece that never sees the light of day. The constraint forces the creator to rely entirely on what they already know works.
Even if I accept that an unedited brain dump can provide functional utility, let's challenge the actual business model here. Walk me through the realistic timeline first.
Sure. The realistic beginner timeline is simple and aggressive. Week 1 is entirely prep and validation. Week 2 is execution.
So by the end of week 2, you have a live product.
Exactly. By Wednesday of week 2, you upload it to a platform like Gumroad.
But relying on a basic Google Doc saved as a PDF, sold on Gumroad for between $7 and $27, that cannot possibly sustain a business. And it certainly can't reach the $100 million scale mentioned in the source material, especially for someone with no existing audience.
If the $7 PDF were the end of the transaction, you'd be entirely correct. It would be mathematically impossible. That is where the counterintuitive nature of the back-end profit model comes in.
The back end, like upselling?
Yes. The low price point entirely removes the buyer's risk and provides immediate proof of concept. Take Jay Boyer from the source material. He made $10,000 in week 2 using these exact constraints.
$10,000 on cheap PDFs in week 2? How is that even mathematically possible without a massive pre-existing list?
Because the true economic value isn't the initial $9 sale. The true value is that a buyer who trusts you at $9 is exponentially more likely to purchase a $97 or $297 comprehensive product later.
Oh, I see. So it's essentially a self-liquidating lead generation tool?
You got it. Each product compounds on the last. You aren't just selling a PDF. You are getting paid to acquire a highly qualified list of proven buyers.
I have to acknowledge the psychological brilliance here. Using strict constraints to overcome the failure to finish hurdle makes a lot of sense, especially when you reframe the PDF as lead generation.
It really is the ultimate survival mechanism for beginners.
Though I do still harbor some reservations about the baseline quality of unedited, single-sitting work polluting the internet. I mean, there is a risk of a lot of noise.
I hear you. But removing friction, focusing purely on immediate pain, and keeping the initial price low is simply the most pragmatic and proven entry point into the digital economy. The market will always correct for quality over time.
I am definitely intrigued by the mechanics. But if a skeptical listener wanted to actually see this methodology broken down in detail with empirical proof, where would they go?
They should go straight to the resources mentioned in the text. Jason Fladlien has a 90-minute free training on the 111 formula at jasonfladlienproducteclass.com/free training.
And there's a document too, right?
Yeah, the free info product avalanche effect PDF. I highly suggest listeners evaluate the real-world examples for themselves and see how the math breaks down.
Well, we started by comparing this to building a house, where you certainly wouldn't trust a 2-hour build. But maybe the digital landscape doesn't require permanent mansions for every single problem?
Exactly. Sometimes you just need an umbrella.
Right. Whether that umbrella is built to last a lifetime or just long enough to get you out of the rain so you buy their next product, well, that is a judgment we will leave up to you, the listener.